Before we start, look at this. Follow-up video will follow soon, so stay tuned. Hi, and thank you for clicking on this video. My name is Furk, aka Phil, and most of you know that for a couple of few months ago, I purchased the Leica Q3 43 because of its longer focal length compared to the regular Q lineups. And I think shortly after this camera, Leica has introduced or released the Leica D-Lux 8, and a lot of people have referred to that camera to be kind of a mini Q because of the finish and the dials and the buttons. Was quite the design language was very similar to the Leica Q3, and therefore a lot of people referred to that D-Lux 8 like a mini Q, which will be represented today by this Lumix LX100. Basically, I think the D-Lux 8 follows a lot to, regarding the specs of the Lumix LX Mark II, regarding sensor and overall body language design and so on. But in my opinion, there's another camera which deserves that term or nickname, as you like to say, the mini Q, much better, and that would be the Lumix GM5 paired with this Lumix Leica 50mm 1.7. As you can see, if I compare this next to the LX100, or you can also say the Leica D-Lux 8, you can see that this D-Lux 8 body, as I mentioned, this LX100 will represent the D-Lux 8. I don't own the D-Lux 8. This body is much bigger if you do a direct comparison with the GM5. And in my opinion, this Lumix GM5 paired with this Leica 50mm micro four thirds lens shares a lot of similarities with the Leica Q3, including why not to buy this camera, but more on that later. If I compare these cameras side by side, you can see that first of all that all of these cameras and also these GM5 compared with this lens, all of them share aperture ring with the you could say Leica font on the lenses, and they are all quite tactile. Now the GM5 and the LX100, and this aperture ring just gives you a certain feeling of control about your exposure triangle settings. The only thing the GM5 does not have is a dedicated shutter speed dial on top of the camera. If you look at the LX100, or aka D-Lux 8, you have here your shutter speed dial, which is identical with the shutter speed dial on the Leica Q3. But on the GM5 you have that back dial. You have this dial on the back, which you can dedicate your shutter speed on. But beside the shutter speed dial, I think the GM5 is quite close to miniature or mini Leica Q. On the back you have a full touch screen on this camera. This GM5 also features an EVF. The processor of this camera, the GM1, only had the touchscreen or the screen, and I find this more convenient because you have that EVF in case the day is too bright for the screen, so you can just look through the viewfinder and compose your images. To be fair, the EVF is not well, and the screen is also not that color accurate, although I'm colorblind. I would say I noticed that the colors on both the EVF and the screen are not great. but based on the size, it's more than functional enough. Of course, on the LX100 aka D-Lux 8, you also have the EVF and a screen. I think on the D-Lux 8 it's also now completely touch screen, and therefore you can navigate through your menus similar to the Leica Q3. And Leica has also designed the menus similar to the Leica Q3 on the D-Lux 8. So therefore, yeah, that experience is quite streamlined. What makes the D-Lux 8 more versatile, you could say, is because of this zoom lens. This is a zoom lens with a variable aperture. I think it's equivalent of a 24 to 70 millimeter focal length lens with an aperture of 1.7 at the widest, and the tightest is 2.8. Whereas on the Leica Q system, of course, depending on which Q version you have, you are fixed on that specific focal length. This is the Leica Q3 43, and of course you have the normal Q version, the 28 millimeter. On the contrary, you have on the GM5, it's an interchangeable system of micro four thirds, and you can put on any kind of micro four thirds lens on this body. But I find this specific Leica D-Lux 50mm 1.7 quite fitting for the GM5, specifically if we are talking about comparing it to a Leica Q. First of all, because of the writing on the lens, it looks just similar to a Leica Q, of course, with the font and number, and the focal length of 50mm is quite close to the original Leica Q cameras. Since this is micro four thirds, it has a crop factor of ×2. This makes it a 30mm focal length full frame equivalent with an aperture of 1.7. The depth of field is 1.7 ×2 is that number. And yeah, just looking at this form factor is the reason why I was initially interested on this camera, because I was always looking for small compact cameras which might fit into your pocket, and until this day this GM5, you can see it just fits in the palm of my hands. Regarding the thickness, it's about the size of a deck of cards. And although the D-Lux 8 is at itself not a big camera, compared with the GM5, it's just much bigger. Of course, if you throw in the lens, you have of course a bigger depth. Another point which makes the GM5 for me like regarding the experience like a mini Q is to have a fixed focal length on the camera by just choosing the 50mm lens. And if you go out and shoot with this combination, it feels quite like a mini Q, you could say, by using this D-Lux 8 processor, because I have this zoom lens. Every time I turn it on, it extends out. The experience is just a different one. It's not bad, but if you compare these cameras in itself, having a fixed focal length compared with a fixed focal length, it's something different when you have this at your hands, 24 to 70 focal length as an option. So here you are tempted to perhaps go longer or wider, and here you are just locked into your prime lens, so to say. And this mimics somehow that Leica Q3 shooting experience or any kind of fixed lens camera. Regarding image quality, of course, these smaller cameras no match compared to this Leica Q3 camera, but yeah, in my opinion, only if you pixel peep extremely, or yeah, shooting portraits and wide open and yeah, pixel peep regarding the fall off of the bokeh, or checking out the background blur if there are any kind of onion rings or so on. The way I shoot my cameras lately is if I go out and try out to capture some kind of frames in my daily life, or a little bit of street photography, I usually shoot yeah, f8 at daytime. Sometimes I try to isolate my object by shooting a little bit more wide open, but in general the quality of the image of all these cameras more than enough, especially if I share it on Instagram. Nobody sees the differences regarding compression, but yeah, of course this 33 millimeter apo lens is something special. To compare the GM5 again with the D-Lux 8, I believe that regarding the megapixels, they are quite identical with 16 megapixel on a micro four thirds sensor. The D-Lux 8 also has a micro four thirds sensor with the same lens like this LX100, as I mentioned, that 24 to 70 full frame equivalent zoom lens. And in the end, depends on what you prefer more. If you want to have a more flexible lens for everyday use, I think most people would choose the D-Lux 8 or an older LX100. With this GM5, again, you have the flexibility of interchanging the lens. Just for demonstration purposes, I have here a second lens for the micro four thirds system. This is a 20 millimeter pancake lens, which is in full frame terms 40 millimeter at 1.7 aperture. And yeah, like every interchangeable camera system, you have the option to change your focal length and lenses, which makes this camera a little bit more versatile depending on your needs. And yeah, here if I would want to, I could throw on also the latest lenses from Olympus, and that would be also working on this camera. But again, yeah, to have that like a Q3 miniature experience, I think this 50 millimeter with the clicking aperture just mimics the experience quite well. Now, speaking about the form factor again, I was expecting to have this small little camera, and just yeah, since it is so small and light, I thought that it would be a great daily everyday carry camera, which it is. But by using it daily, I also noticed some cons about this camera, and funny enough, that is also quite similar with the big brother, the Leica Q3. And first of all, if you throw on a lens on this camera, and I think you already saw that during this video, this camera is not pocketable by the term itself. Because this lens, as you already saw, protrudes out quite heavily. And funny enough, that's also the con of the Leica Q3 or any Qs in the past, and people always has talked about this lens being too big, and therefore it's not possible to pocket that camera, so to say. Compared like the X100 lineup, where the lens is much smaller and pancake lens, therefore it's more easily to put it into your pockets. This is the same con for this combo, you could say. Even if I throw on the 20 millimeter micro four thirds lens, it's still relatively big in its thickness. You could argue that this is the size where it's possible to pocket, because this is also the same thickness of this camera. And yeah, based on this thickness, you could say, I'm able, depending on my which pants I wear, I can pocket them in my front or back pocket of my jeans, for example. But that's why these cameras are so popular among street photographers. I also acquired a Ricoh GR lately. This is the Ricoh GR1 Mark 1, so I wasn't feeling it to purchase the GR3 because I wasn't sure if I like the concept. But since I have this camera, I now get it. This has also a fixed focal length of 28mm equivalent. And if you look at these two cameras, you see why the GR cameras are truly pocketable, because after using it, you can just turn it off, the lens goes in, and you can truly pocket this. This is still manageable depending on your pants, but this one truly pocketable in almost any jeans, for men at least. So that was for me a funny discovery with this GM5, because it made me laugh. Although this is so small, it yeah, shares you could say the corner of the big lens of the big brother, and that is one similar con, you could say. The second one is also quite interesting, and that's regarding the ergonomics. The Leica Q lineup has the reputation that this front leather is relatively slippery for some people, and normally you don't have a grip. I have this one from JJC, which they have sent me in the past. Not sponsored, but I like their products, so link in the description. And this one just gives you a much better grip combined with this thumb grip also. And yeah, that's the same thing I have here on the GM5, that here you don't have any kind of grip. You have only this soft material, the leather, which feels quite nice. And then you have this dent where you can put your thumb at. And that's how you basically hold your camera. And to be honest, it doesn't feel comfortable, especially if you shoot for a longer period of time. It's more easy to have it on a strap and hold it. Funny enough, on this small size with two hands. And if you just hold it and walking, at some point it's makes your hands cramp a little bit. And yeah, I found that also quite interesting, that that's the second con both of these cameras kind of share. Other than that, this GM5 is just a very cool camera to shoot with. I enjoy shooting this camera very much, as I already mentioned, as a daily carry. If you just have this on a camera strap, you don't feel the weight at all. The much more pocketable camera would be something like an Ricoh GR or Sony RX100. Despite all the good things I talked about this camera, I have to say that that's the third con this GM5 shares with the Leica Q3, because in my opinion the Leica Q3 is one of the best fixed focal length cameras which the market can currently offer, and today you are able to choose between two focal lengths, 28 and 43, depending on your preference. But based on the price point, I can't recommend the camera to most people, because there's a lot more affordable options out there. Everybody knows about that, and the premium which Leica cameras offer, ask for the price, you have to want that premium, and then you will pay it. Regarding the GM5, it's a little bit different, but goes into the same direction, that I can't recommend this camera on the current used market, because if I check this correctly, they are running between $800 and $1,000 depending on the timing when you're looking at eBay or MPB and so on. And for almost $1,000 body only, for a camera which is almost 10 years old now, I think there's a lot of better options out there for you to choose for. Of course, this kind of form factor, there's nothing right now on the market. The more smaller body would be a Fujifilm X100VI, but here you would pay under 1,000 for a new body. And yeah, this small body for about 1,000 I just can't recommend. I myself got lucky. I got this combination, so the GM5 body and the lens, this 50mm Leica lens. I got this for about $550 together, so that was quite a bargain in my opinion. So if you can strike something around 500 or below, I think it's a relatively good price. But everything above, I think there's a lot of better options to look for. And as I showed you before, if you are looking for portability, something like a RICO GR camera or Sony RX100 is much more pocketable compared to an interchangeable lens system. Yeah, that was my quick rant about my mini Leica Q, you could say, aka the Lumix GM5. Really like this camera, enjoy it very much with all its pros and cons, but as I said, I can't recommend it for the current used prices. If you can find some great deals, go for it. Other than that, if you make it until this point, thank you very much for your time watching. Write down below in the comments which mini Q would you rather choose, the D-Lux 8, or is the idea of an GM5 something you would be interested in, or just go for a real pocketable camera like a RICO GR or a Sony RX100. Let me know in the comments below. And thank you very much for your time watching. You're the one who deserves a like for that. And if you want to support my small little channel, check the affiliate links below in the description, like the Leica Grip. And if you want, you can also buy me a coffee, link also below in the description. As I mentioned in the beginning, stay tuned for an upcoming Leica M8 video. And if you want to know why I had to send in my Leica M8 to Wetzlar, just click on this video.